How's it going, everybody? It's day 26. Today I want to talk about a kind of an interesting subject. Not necessarily something that I'm super well versed in, but we'll see. Also, super exciting, like epic exciting. We are having our first interview tonight. You can see the set is changed up a little bit. I've got another couch over there. If I pulled back the camera to show you, you'd love it. It looks really cool. I got a little bit of greenery for once, because the thing that took the least amount of work that I could find was cactus, and that's a cactus, I guess, kind of thing, succulent thing. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know much about plants. But yeah, we're changing things up. We're going to get on to this interview. It's going to be really fun, I think. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I hope. But yeah, so kind of what I want to talk about tonight is just relationships, really, and a smart way and a stupid way to do them. And I think a lot of my viewers are kind of my age. They're younger guys. And yeah, so, I figured, hey, if I can help some younger guys with their relationships, that would be great. I am an expert on the matter. I've had 2 failed relationships, so, I clearly know what I'm doing. That's sarcasm, if you didn't get that. But this is pretty much, some of the lessons I've learned from my parents, so some things I thought that might be helpful. I think a lot of guys, especially my age, we're a little bit more immature. We go into relationships with the intent to make it work. And that's not a bad thing, but I think we should kind of look at relationships a little bit differently. And I think we should think about it more as how can we make it not work? Because if you're motivated at all, if you're trying at all, you can suffer through and make almost anything work, but you really shouldn't. Because do you want to be making something work for the rest of your life, or do you want to have a good relationship? And before I get really into this, subscribe. Just remember to subscribe, like, comment, go check out my Instagram, go check out my TikTok and my Facebook. If you have Facebook, I don't know how many 7-year-olds watch this, but there could be a few, so go check me out on Facebook. I post other stuff there. Anyway, I think we get this kind of like this plan that this relationships are going to be perfect, and if we just work hard enough at it, it'll work out, and we don't want to give up on people. The idea of not being in a relationship is scary, and once you're in one, and so the idea that, hey, if I actually have boundaries and I actually have convictions and I'm going to stand by them, and she's not going to like it and she's going to leave, and I think this goes both ways, by the way, but as a guy, I'm going to be referring to the other person as a she. But it works. You can take this as a girl as well and think through these same things. If she's not going to like my convictions, then I'm just going to have to compromise a bit. And the thing is, you don't want to go through your life, once you get married, you're married forever. You don't want to be married forever to somebody that you are just forcing things to make work with. You want to be married to somebody who's going to support you, who's going to, help you, who's going to have the same kind of visions and goals as you, or at least going to want to help you get to your visions and goals. And that way you can work together. And it doesn't have to be, nothing's perfect, obviously, but that way it'll be a little bit smoother. It'll be a lot easier. So when you first get into a relationship with somebody and you first start talking to somebody, don't make it easy, okay? And I know people are going to disagree with this, and they're going to say, that's wrong and you're not being fair, whatever. Don't make it easy, okay? That's my personal opinion. Because your dating relationship before you get married is going to be the best that you see each other at ever. Ever. I mean, you're both going to be on your best behavior. You're both going to be acting as nice as you possibly can, right? And the phrase my parents love, and they've told me many times, is when you're dating, you use a magnifying glass, okay? You look for everything. You try and find every spot where you might disagree, where this might not work out. You analyze everything. Because once you get married, you're not using a magnifying glass anymore. It doesn't matter. Your parents can't tell you that you married the wrong person. I mean, they can, but it doesn't matter if they do, right? You can't listen to anyone else. You have to stand up for your wife or your husband above everyone else. Defend them over everyone else. You can't just, take your parents' side against your wife because you feel like it. No, now you guys are one person and you are together forever. So you take off the magnifying glass and you put on these rose-colored glasses, and you have to see everything in a rose-colored light. And you can no longer try and look for flaws and say, hey, but we don't match up there. It doesn't matter. You're married, right? You did it. You got hitched. Now you're married. So you get a little opportunity. You got like 2 years, okay? Well, just maybe 2 years where you're getting to know somebody when they're on their best behavior, and you got to find out if you want to be with this person for the rest of your life, okay? 2 years to make the biggest decision, the second biggest decision of your life, the first being to follow Jesus, the second biggest decision of your life, okay? That will last until one of you dies. So possibly for the next 60 to 70 years, you are going to live with this person. And you got 2 years to figure out if you want to do it, okay? On average. Sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. If it's taking you more than 2 years to figure out if you really want to live with somebody, that's probably not a good thing. You got 2 years to figure out if you want to live with somebody. So use those 2 years wisely, man. And I would say, in my first relationship, I did not do that. I spent that time really trying to make stuff work instead of going, hey, actually, that doesn't really sit right with me. Hey, actually, I don't agree with that. Hey, that goes against my values, okay? I wanted a large family. She didn't. That's huge. Oh, that is a huge thing, all right? You got to find, and I'm trying to compromise here. Oh, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to be a big deal. We'll figure it out later. No. You figure it out now. If you don't figure it out, you will regret your marriage. Okay? And this is based off of the testimony of people who have been married and people who married the right person, etc. So not personal experience. So you really use those rose-colored glasses. And I'd say another thing that you really want to do, get the person you're dating around your family and your friends, and get around her family and her friends. And the reason for that is, again, one-on-one, you're both going to be on your best behavior. Spend a decent amount of time. Go on a week-long camping trip with them. Go on a trip somewhere with them. Go stay with them for a week. Something, Get her to come over. Come on a trip with you guys, with your family for a week. Obviously, if you live at home. If you don't live at home, if you live on your own, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. But if you live at home, get her to come and spend a lot of time with your family. Get her really, really comfortable, because when we're comfortable, that's when we sort of give away what we're really like. And you want to see what she's really like. And girls, you want to see what the guy's really like. You want to see how they treat, for girls, you want to see how that guy treats his mom. For guys, you want to see how that girl treats her dad. One of the biggest signs for a guy is how a girl treats her dad. If she has a bad relationship with her dad, and this is just a general observation. I'm not going to say this is the same for everybody, because everyone's different, but exceptions make the rules. And if your girlfriend has a bad relationship with her dad, where she doesn't respect him, or if, she can't stand to spend time with him, or she says he's too controlling, or etc., that's going to be an issue, okay? She's going to treat you similarly to how she treats your dad. Not exactly the same, but similarly. And same for guys. You look how girls, you check out how a guy treats his mom. If he's disrespecting her, if he's doesn't care about her, etc., it's going to be similar to how he treats you. And if they have siblings, sisters, etc., check out those two. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly the same, but it's going to give you a kind of idea, okay? Once you get that idea, you can kind of say, oh, do I want to live with that? Do I want to live with that attitude for the rest of my life? Do I want to live with someone who's so competitive they can't stand to lose ever? Do I want to do that? I don't know. And it might not sound like a big thing, but then you think about that for the rest of your life. And you got to put everything into this metric of the rest of your life, right? Because that's what it is. I don't believe divorce is an option. I don't think that's something that should be considered or even thought about before you get married as a possibility, right? So really think about those things when you're so yeah, get around the families, get comfortable, okay, with each other in family situations. That's going to help a ton. And then have convictions. Write out a list of like 20 things that you believe. Be detailed, be very specific, get very detailed so that there is no mistaking. These 20 things are non-negotiables. I will not change my opinion. These are deal breakers. If that doesn't work out, sorry, the relationship's off. Be quick to break up over like if things aren't good. There's lots of fish in the sea. I know you've heard it before, but look for someone else, okay? Get those non-negotiables, especially when it comes to how you want to raise your kids, to have those conversations before you get married, because otherwise it's going to be pretty tough to work through a lot of things. I think it's just a lot easier to get these things out of the way before you get married. Another thing that I think is hugely important is figure out where you stand theologically, okay? And for young people, it's not as big of a deal as long as she has the same basic Christian principles as you. That's important. But, you know, if there's like some major denominational thing, if there's some like major belief that you're going to disagree over raising kids, you know, that's something that you should probably talk out and figure out before you get married, because that's going to be something you're going to clash on. You know, figure out how she wants to interact with you and the kids. Is she going to be disagreeing with you in front of your children if you tell them to do something, right? Obviously, your wife is your helpmeet. She's supposed to help you, and, you know, she has insight from God that you might not have, so you should be listening to her. But are you telling your kids, hey, actually, no, you don't have to do what mom says in front of them right after your wife tells them to do something? Or is that something, are you going to make sure you do that somewhere else? You do that not in front of the kids. All these things might not seem like big deals, but they're actually really big deals. So, you know, have that list of non-negotiables, go through it. But here's the flip side to this, okay? Nobody's perfect. And this is kind of like the reversal of my argument. That argument is all about, you know, finding the right person. Here's the reversal. Nobody's perfect. You will never find somebody who's perfect for you. At some point, you have to trust God and say, okay, God, if this is the one you want for me, then we're going to get married and we're going to work it out. Okay? Because I've seen all too often where people just say, no, we're waiting for the perfect one, and then don't get married, and that's very sad. I'm not married yet, but I totally intend on being married, okay? And I'm going to keep, and you keep trying. You don't go, okay, I'm no longer interested in getting married, so forget it. I'm not even going to try. I just enjoy being single. Because personally for me, I've been single for over a year now. I love being single. It is extremely enjoyable for me. I get to save a ton of money. But that's another thing. Don't waste your money on a girlfriend, okay? Spend your money on a wife. Don't waste it on a girlfriend, because things happen. I get to save a lot of money. I save a lot of time. I get to focus on goals that I have. So I like being single. But the thing is, it's part of our calling as Christians to get married and to raise a family and have a legacy. And I think if you wait for perfection, it's not going to come. So put yourself out there, go to events, get around people where there's, you know, where there's opportunities to meet people who are potential, you know, husbands or wives. Because you need to be in those situations. If you lock yourself away and just do your own thing and say, oh, God's going to bring them to me, I'm sorry, you know, he might perform a miracle, but you also there's part of it that you have to do as well. You have to put some time and invest some effort into it as well. So really, those are the important things. And the final thing I'd say is make sure you have the same goals and visions. And that around finances are a big thing for me. Make sure you have the same goals and visions. If you are into business and you want to make money and you're an entrepreneur, you better make sure that she's happy with those three things. Because you don't want to marry someone who's like, no, just have a stable job, work 8 hours a day, and provide, you know, $5,000 a month for the rest of my life. There are women out there who want that. Okay? And if you're a guy and you just want to have a stable job and live and not really grow anywhere, and you're marrying someone who's somewhat business-minded and wants to be an entrepreneur and stuff, you're going to clash. You want to make sure you marry somebody who's going to have the same goals when it comes to work and finances and your vision as you do, and that goes across business and family and everything. So yeah, just be super careful. I'm learning. I have definitely not figured it out. Most of that stuff that I've told you is all just from my parents, what they've told me, based on their, almost, 23 years of marriage now, and 9 kids later. So I'm definitely not there yet, but I'm learning, and hopefully that's helpful. And I look forward to later today when we're going to have like an actual interview. It's going to be fun. So have a good rest of your day.